Hey everyone, it's Nick Dease, Film and Humanities Librarian at the Boatwright Library. Today we're going to talk about how to use basic library search tools to find things like books, articles, and films. In particular, we're going to be looking at our discovery layer, OneSearch. Whether you're working on a project, writing a paper, or simply exploring, today's guide will walk you through mastering basic keyword searches, utilizing filters effectively, and navigating your search results like a pro. So let's get started. Alrighty, so here we are at the library's website, which is just library.richmond.edu, and today we're going to be really focusing on OneSearch, which you can see here in the middle of the screen. So OneSearch is what we call a discovery layer. It searches broadly across what we have both in print and in digital. And I like to say that it is a really great place to start your research process when you just want to get a sense of whether or not the library has materials on your topic. However, it should be noted that OneSearch, while it is a lot of what the library has, it isn't everything. And so sometimes when you are getting deep into your research, you will need to go beyond OneSearch to take a look at some of our research databases, which we will look at in another video. However, this is a great place to get your start whenever you're just trying to see what we have. So if I were to put in a keyword right in here, it would immediately do a OneSearch. But let's take a look before we do that at a couple of other options. So you'll see here above the search bar we have multiple tabs. These are what we call facets. They allow us to search in a different way across OneSearch. So if you click on Books and More, you will look at the primarily physical things that the library has. This does include things like print materials, but it also includes things like films, DVDs, Blu-rays. If you click on scholarly articles, it will narrow you down to scholarly articles and peer-reviewed content. This is another great way to narrow down. If you are just looking for newspaper articles, you can narrow down by newspaper article. And if you are just looking to see if we have access to a specific journal during a specific range of time, you can search for that journal title here. And I will just say this is one of the most helpful ways to use OneSearch. Oftentimes when we're on the web, we will find a citation for something, and we're not quite sure if the library has it. And so what I like to do is I'll just copy the name of that journal, and then I will come here to journal title search and just plug that in there, and it will tell me, yes, we do have it, and we have it from 1999 to present, and then I can go in and fetch that article. So it is a much more reliable way to find that information quickly. Now, let's start off with a general keyword search just to get a sense of how OneSearch works. So let's say I'm writing a paper about climate change. I could just type in the keyword climate change here and then hit search. And as you can see here, when it generates our results, we have about, looks like 4+ million results here. So that is a lot of stuff to look at. Generally, this isn't the best kind of thing that we want to see. So what we can do in order to make these results more narrow and easier to browse is either add additional keywords, use some specific search strategies, and take advantage of some of the filters. But before we do that, let's just scroll through and look at what we have here. So you can see these icons can be very helpful in determining what types of materials we have. We've got a book here. It's available online. You scroll down here, we have some conference proceedings, many other materials. So if I were to click on any of these records, it would open that record up here for me, and then I would be able to look at the information. So I could take a look here at the title, the creator, the subject, and just so you know, when you click on the subject here, it will do another full search based entirely on the subject. This can be helpful for expanding your results. You have often a description of the content here, which can be helpful if you're just trying to determine if it's going to be useful or not. And in addition, you can generate citations here by clicking on these options for MLA, APA, and Chicago. So this can be a very helpful way to assist your research process. One thing, though, I will say about these citation generation tools is that occasionally they can get incorrect information or have mistakes in them. So I always recommend that you consult another tool, be it the actual style manuals, like for example the Chicago Manual of Style, or a tool like the Purdue Online Writing Lab or OWL to verify those citations. That being said, they are still very helpful for just getting that info. But back to our original problem here, we have about 4 million results. What are some things that we can do to reduce them? Now, at the top here, the keyword search, climate change, it should be noted that we're using technically 2 keywords, the words climate and change. And so what's happening in the background is this system is looking for anything that has these 2 words. It doesn't care if these 2 words come in the exact same order. It just wants to see the words climate and change somewhere on those records. However, one thing that we can do is put this in quotation marks. And what that does is it looks for these specific words in this specific order. This is what we call a phrase search. And so if we were to do that, we would eliminate close to about 2 million results right off the bat, because we are only looking for things that have the specific phrase climate change. Now, let's say we're scrolling through the results and we start to notice a pattern of results that we don't like. Maybe there's a lot of stuff coming up that has to do with climate change and global effects, and we don't want to look at that. One tool that we can use is called a Boolean operator. And my favorite Boolean operator is the not operator. And so if I add a not right here, I can add an additional keyword to remove from my search results. And so if the word global is coming up too much and I don't want those results, I can just say climate change, not global. And then you can see here we moved from about 2.4 million down to 662,000. So that is a considerable amount of content that was just shaved away by using this Boolean operator. Now, some other tools that you can use to navigate the interface here on the left are filters. So these can be very helpful in narrowing down results. So if I wanted to look for things that are actually in the library, I could select in the library. If my professor, let's say, has asked that I only find peer-reviewed articles, I could activate the peer-reviewed article filter, and then that would reduce those results accordingly. If I look down here under resource type, you can see these are all of the resources related to my search terms. And so oftentimes when I'm looking for materials, I don't really care about reading reviews about the material I'm looking for. So you can see here about 21,000 of the results are just reviews of stuff. So if I click over here on exclude reviews, that will automatically remove those 21,000 from results. You can scroll down further. We can look at publication date. So this publication date is based entirely on our existing results here. And it says that the oldest is from 1001 and the most recent one is from 2025. That's actually in the future because it's 2024 as of the time of this recording. The reason why we might be seeing a 2025 article in here is because perhaps the online version of this article is being made available early and it will be published in print in 2025. But that being said, one thing that we can do if we have the mind to is to narrow down our search results to specific date ranges. So if I'm interested, let's say, in climate change information since the pandemic, I might want to go down here and say 2020 to 2025 and then hit refine. And so that will remove a considerable amount of results. So we can see here years 2020 to 2025 and excluding reviews. Now if we scroll down further here, you can see we have a subject limiter. And so this can be a great way to expand your search. We can look at things like climate change. That's a keyword here that we like. But we can also maybe want to narrow down on sustainability or on life sciences or energy, and then apply those filters accordingly. And so if we continue to do this, it will continue to reduce things as we want. We can also, just for fun, add our scholarly and peer-reviewed limiter, and then that gets us down to about 4,000 results here. And so we can see some peer-reviewed articles that look very nice related to my topic. Now, as I go about reading some of these results, I might key into additional keywords. So if I pull up this one here, maybe I'm looking in the description here and I find like words like test, retest reliability, or measures of CCS. And so maybe climate change skepticism suddenly becomes something that I'm interested in. I could close this and then add climate change skepticism as an additional keyword here, and then narrow down those results accordingly. Now, before we wrap up our overview of OneSearch, some other things that you might want to try. You'll note these options here as well. So if I click on all items, you can see how you can very easily narrow down to journals, articles, or books. You can change that contain my query words options to that contain the exact phrase or begins with. Again, this we can control much easier by using the quotation marks here. And then under the anywhere in the record, you have options for looking for in the title or as author, in creator, or in subject. And so this is, you might not immediately think that this is super helpful, but for example, if I were looking for content about J.R.R. Tolkien, author of The Lord of the Rings, I could search for J.R.R. Tolkien in subject, and then that would limit me to articles and books that are about Tolkien, as opposed to as author / creator. If I look for Tolkien there, I will get The Lord of the Rings and the other books that he's written. So this can be a helpful strategy as well. Now lastly here at the top, you can also narrow down your search from everything to books and more, rare books, or campus libraries. This is similar to the facets that we saw on the home page. And if you want to get really fancy, you can go to the advanced search options here, which have lots of ways for you to add additional keywords and use the Boolean operators directly from these drop downs here. So if you wanted to come up with a very complicated search, this would be the place to go. But with that, we are out of time, so hopefully this has given you a nice introduction to how to quickly jump into OneSearch and use it very effectively. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us at library.richmond.edu. I'll see you next time.